Hey everyone, and a very warm welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful set of verses from the Quran, from Surah Al-Muminun to be exact, that paint this incredibly sharp, focused picture of what a true believer looks like. This isn't about vague ideas. This is all about precision. So let's get into what that really means.
Now, what I find so fascinating about this passage is that it's not presented as a new definition, it's framed as a calibration. The source material puts it perfectly. It's about refining the signal and stripping away all the noise. We're not learning about faith from scratch here. Instead, we're fine-tuning our understanding, getting rid of the static and the confusion to hear the clear intended message of what true belief actually is. And you have to understand, this calibration comes at a very specific moment. Right before these verses, the Quran has been taking apart all these flawed ideas about belief. Things like blind confidence or a faith that's just skin deep, all for appearances. So after clearing the stage of all these misunderstandings, it brings us back to the real thing. Okay, so where does this portrait of a true believer actually begin? Well, it starts on the inside, with their inner state. And the very first quality that's mentioned is a particular kind of fear. And this forms the entire foundation of their faith. But hold on, the word fear can be pretty misleading, right? We immediately think of anxiety or being terrified of something. So what kind of fear are we really talking about here? Well, the answer is in the specific Arabic term that's used, khashya. And this isn't terror, it's an informed awe. It's a deep, profound reverence that comes from knowing just how great God is, His power, His mercy, His majesty. It's not a fear that comes from ignorance. Think of the awe an astronomer feels when they truly grasp the scale of the cosmos. That's the kind of feeling we're getting at. And this has a brilliant side effect in practice. This informed awe, this khashya, it acts like a spiritual alarm system. It means that even when life is good and things are comfortable, their conscience never gets sleepy or complacent. That deep reverence keeps them spiritually awake, alert, and mindful. So from that inner state of awe, we move to the next layer. The believer's worldview. How does this internal reverence actually shape the way they see the entire world? Well, it leads to what the source calls a full spectrum belief. And I love that phrase. It means they see God's signs, His ayat, absolutely everywhere, and they believe in all of them. There's no picking and choosing. This isn't a faith you just box up for one part of your life. It's a totally integrated worldview that sees the divine fingerprint in scripture, sure, but also in nature, in the lessons of history, and even in the whisper of their own conscience. And at the absolute non-negotiable core of this worldview is the concept of tawhid, pure, undiluted monotheism. This means no rivals, no partners, or as the source cleverly puts it, no spiritual side hustles. It is a total, all-in focus on the one creator. Now, what's really powerful here is how the source material brings the concept of shirk, associating partners with God, into our modern world. It reminds us that this isn't just about bowing to a physical statue. Today, shirk is often just a priority problem. It's when we elevate other things, our ego, our career, money, our desperate need for other people's approval, to a level where they start competing with God for our ultimate loyalty. Okay, this next part is, for me, maybe the most profound and counterintuitive piece of the whole puzzle. It describes the believer's mindset while they are doing good things, and it presents us with this amazing paradox. Just look at this contrast. Our common assumption is, when you do something good, give to charity, help someone out, you should feel good about yourself. A sense of security, of accomplishment, I've checked that box. But the Quranic reality described here is the complete opposite. The true believers give what they give, they do what they do, all while their hearts are trembling, because they are fully aware that they are going to return to their Lord. Their state is one of no spiritual swagger. I love that phrase. There's no entitlement, no feeling of I've done enough to earn my place. The fear they have isn't about whether they'll manage to do the good deed. It's a much deeper anxiety about their own sincerity and a humble recognition that their actions are only accepted through God's infinite mercy, not because they've earned. So you're probably thinking, wait a second, how does that work? How can a heart that's fearful and uncertain be the same heart that's racing to do good? This brings us to the beautiful resolution of the paradox, understanding how this fear actually becomes the ultimate fuel for action. And here it is. This is the key. This deep awareness of accountability, this khashya, it doesn't cause paralysis. It doesn't lead to burnout or giving up. It does the exact opposite. It mobilizes them. It creates this powerful, unstoppable sense of purpose. And you can see the logic. It's like a perfect chain reaction.
It starts with a constant awareness of accountability, knowing that you're going to return to your Lord. That awareness creates a profound sense of urgency. And what does that urgency lead to? It makes them hasten, even race towards good deeds. They don't put off doing good, they sprint towards it.
So let's zoom out and pull this all together. This passage basically corrects some of our most common and frankly dangerous misunderstandings. We tend to think confidence is a sign of strong faith, but these verses teach us that true faith is rooted in humility. We might think having a lot of worldly success is a sign of God's approval, but we're taught the real goal is sincerity. And we might believe that just being busy doing good things is enough for acceptance, but we're reminded that acceptance is a gift granted only through mercy. So in the end, this portrait shows us that real faith isn't necessarily loud or showy. It's not about grand performances. It's precise. It's built on that inner awe, that uncompromising worldview, and that humble, active heart. And because it's so precise, it moves fast, constantly pushing a person toward goodness. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We so often turn to faith looking for comfort, looking to feel safe. But what if its truest expression isn't about feeling safe at all? What if it's about being spiritually awake, constantly alert, and mobilized by a love and an awe so profound that it makes you race to do good without ever feeling like you've done enough?